Welcome to the Colonel Cast, the official podcast of the Curry College Athletics Department, a proud partner of your
Curry College Colonels.
We have the champion of the best of Curry bracket.
Yeah!
Which,
Let's go!
we will reveal later on in the episode. I am Paul Blow, here with Brandon Clay.
What's up?
And Chris McKeon.
What up?
And we have a lot to get to before that big reveal. So let's kick things off with one of our favorites. It's Guess the Sport.
It's time to guess some of Curry's best. This is Guess the Sport.
Okay, Clay, you ready to get things going here?
Of course. I got a good batting average so far. Let's see if I can continue that streak.
Yes, sir. Coming in at 591. Let's see if you can improve on that today. Your first athlete from the class of 1959.
Oh, my.
It's Jack Silver.
I know Jack Vavely is a baseball guy. Baseball coach, very well-renowned baseball coach. Jack Silver.
True.
It's a pretty cool name, Mr. Silver, but I'm going to have to go against my gut feeling of baseball and vote Jack Silver, a men's soccer player. We haven't had one in a while. I'm going to say men's soccer. Final answer.
That is incorrect.
You kidding me, dude?
No, we're gonna come back to that one a little bit later on, but for right now, we're gonna move on to athlete number 2.
Clay, from the class of 1982, Sally Brophy.
Sally Brophy. Sally from the class of 84, you said?
82.
All right, a couple years off. I'm going to have to go with, I want to be right here. My gut is saying lacrosse, but my heart is saying softball. So I'm going to go with women's lacrosse.
That is wrong.
Incorrect.
Are you kidding me? Was one of them right?
Do you want to give another guess?
Yeah, I'm going to not say either of those. I'm going to say women's basketball. Sally Brophy.
Women's basketball is correct.
What the heck?
All right, 1 for 2 on Sally Brophy, and we like to do this to you, so give another guess here.
Oh, my gosh. 2-sport athlete, maybe 3 for all we know.
3-sport athlete.
Of course she is. Like class of 1982. So for my third and final guess, for Sally Brophy, the 3-sport athlete at Curry from 1982, my gut is going to go with softball. Final answer. If she didn't play lax, she played softball.
She did play softball.
Yeah, let's go.
That's not what you were about to say.
It took me a while, but we got it right.
So you got women's basketball, you got softball, and we have one more athlete for you here. We'll circle back around at the end and tell you what Sally Brophy's third sport was. But first, we need to give you your final student athlete for today.
All right.
From the class of 2009, Christina Sansonito.
Who is that? If you're listening, Christina, I apologize. I've never heard of your name.
Sorry, let me pronounce it differently. Christina Cincinnati.
Dude, I love Christina. Yeah, shout out
Give her a
Christina.
shout out.
Oh my goodness. Me and Christina met a couple years ago because her and her sister Maria work at every Colonel basketball game for the past, what's been a couple years, right?
Yeah, unless they're
Long
attending Red Sox games. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point, yeah. Oh, I miss you guys. All three of us worked with them for quite a while now. And shout out to you guys. My vote is going to be women's soccer, though. Final answer.
Are you for real?
No. Wasn't she a 2-sport athlete?
She was.
All right, so softball and basketball. Final answer.
Very
Shout out.
good.
She's on the
you're
pennant.
good.
She's the only person I know that's on the pennant.
You are correct. She's
Shout
a
out.
1,000-point scorer for women's basketball. She also played softball. So you went, holy cow, I got to count this up here today. You went 3 for 6.
That's fine.
No.
Yeah.
No, you went better. You went 4 for 6.
I did?
You went 4 for 6. So
I'm
that's
happy.
by itself is an average of 667 there.
Pretty
So your
darn
average will go up. You are now 17 for 28.
That's
fantastic.
pretty decent.
And let's hit the athletes who you guessed incorrectly from the class of 1959. Jack Silver.
What did I say?
Should have gone with your gut.
Yeah, you should.
What was my final answer?
You said men's soccer.
And my gut was
Your
baseball?
gut was baseball. And then the third sport for Sally Brophy, you guessed women's basketball and softball correctly, which leaves which season?
Obviously fall, so it would have to be soccer. Final answer.
It wouldn't have to be, but it was.
It was, yeah, of course.
Could
Absolutely.
have been women's cross country, but it was women's soccer. So great job. Did very, very well today. And we are going to move on. You guys know what this episode is going to be all about. It's been about a month and a half since we started all of this in episode 3. But today we finally get to crown a champion of the best of Curry bracket. Let's take a look at how our picks made it to the finals. First up is one of my picks, the 2019 cheerleading team. So the 2019 cheerleaders, who won the program's first ever National Cheerleading Association Intermediate All-Girl Division III National Championship, they were the second pick in Group 4.
I'm going to have to go with the 1985 to 1988 men's ice hockey run of dominance here.
Are you serious?
4 straight 20-plus win seasons.
Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. I was over here trying to figure out what my second pick was because I was about 99% sure you were going with the 2019 National Championship team.
4 playoff games and an 80-60 CAC North Championship. You can't beat that.
Totally. Unless it's a national championship.
All right, okay,
so
you got me there.
You got it.
cheerleaders are on my team.
That was a great episode, though.
It was. I'd like to thank you, Clay, for leaving the door open for me to put the cheerleaders on my team. They won Group 4 by 205 votes, and they actually wound up with the most overall votes out of all 24 competitors in round 1. In the second round, they beat the 1991 women's soccer team by 324 votes. They received 894 votes in the second round, which was over 61% of the votes in that matchup. And again, they had the most overall votes out of all the competitors in round 2. They actually never trailed in either of the first 2 rounds. In round 2, if you only were to look at who, quote unquote, won each social platform each day, so like this team got more votes on Facebook on Tuesday, or this team got more votes on Twitter on Friday, they won every single platform on every single day through all of round 2 and did it all but 3 times in round 1. And when you consider that round 1 had 11 days of voting across 3 platforms, 30-3 is a pretty darn good ratio.
That's crazy, yeah.
So before we get into our second finalist, I want to ask everybody to continue to do their part to hashtag keep Curry safe. This pandemic is about more than just us or just our close friends. So we need to take precautions to protect every single person we come into contact with. Please, please continue to wear your masks, keep making smart decisions, and together we can keep the entire Curry community safe. So the second competitor in the finals here is the 2019 volleyball team, who also happened to be my pick. They had the most wins in a season in program history with 13. They also had the program's longest win streak and set several other program records, thanks largely in part to Amanda Wood, Lexi Pereira, and Lex Bell. In Group 1, they were actually the third of the 24 competitors announced, and they were the second pick in that group.
They're all very good moments in groups. I'm going to have to go with the first one here with the 2003 to 2009 football dynasty with those 5 consecutive NEFC championships right there.
That makes sense.
Solid pick.
I'll come in with the second pick here. Between cross country and volleyball, I got to go with the team that I worked very closely with last year. So I'm taking the 2019 volleyball squad.
Good pick. It's a very, very good pick.
You just light me on fire today, aren't you?
Well, Clay, I got to back you up here because, I mean, you know how we talked about just throwing preliminary seedings on them to put them into groups and whatnot? The preliminary seeding on the football dynasty was 1. They were kind of predicted to be a really strong pick there. So if I had the first pick, I probably would have taken them too. But thankfully, I didn't have the first pick, and I wound up taking the volleyball team here. They won Group 1 by 183 votes. They received 289 votes in that first round, which was 65% of all of the votes that came in Group 1. And they actually wound up with the second most overall votes in round 1 behind only the cheerleaders. In the second round, they beat Jack Vallely's coaching career by exactly 200 votes. They received 771, which was 57.5% in that matchup. And they had the second most votes total through round 2 But in round 2 alone, they actually only had the 5th most votes amongst 8 competitors. So it was fortunate there that they were matched up with the team that wound up with the 7th most votes in that round. We are going to take a break before continuing with our last 2 finalists here and once again jump into Welcome Home Colonels.
Welcome home.
I can't believe we are already 9 weeks into this semester, but even though the members of the class of 2024 have been here for over 2 months already, we still want to make sure they feel welcome, and we still want to make sure they know how valued they are as members of the Curry College community. So I am very lucky today to welcome one of our newest members of the baseball team from Cumberland, Rhode Island. It's Ryan Kirkpatrick.
What's up, Ryan? Welcome home.
Welcome, Ryan.
Welcome, man. And while we're talking about baseball, Chris, why don't you tell us about our 3rd finalist?
So the 3rd finalist is the 2015 baseball team. They walked off with a CCC championship against Roger Williams and shut out Wesleyan for the program's first ever NCAA tournament win. They were the last of the 24 competitors announced, and they were the first pick in Group 8.
Let's grab our last picks here, Chris. Who do you want?
I am going with the 2015 CCC champions from baseball.
Great pick. Was a great pick.
It was a great pick.
Evidently,
Thank
yeah.
you, Clay.
Yeah, no problem. Yet again, just feeding you guys these picks, no problem.
They're actually our only finalist who was picked first in their group.
Really? That's interesting.
The 2015 CCC champs, they won by 80 votes and received 185 votes in round 1, but their competitors finished 12th and 23rd, so they advanced pretty safely. The baseball team beat last year's women's ice hockey team in the 2nd round by 92 votes. They received 844 votes, 52.9% in that matchup.
Yeah, that one was interesting. If that matchup happened in round 1, women's ice hockey actually would have taken it by 20 votes. But baseball showed up big on our socials in round 2 and really earned their spot in the finals, thanks largely in part to Twitter, since they earned 129 votes more than their opponent on Twitter alone and actually received less overall votes on both Facebook and Instagram. But Twitter made up for it. So before we get into our last finalist, we're going to quickly step away once more to shout out Handshake.
Looking for a job or internship? Try Handshake. Log into your My Curry portal and get searching. Don't forget to fill out your profile so that employers can contact you too. Need help? Message the Center for Career Development.
All right, Clay, why don't you hit us with our last finalist, your only remaining pick?
All right, for my lone survivor pick here, I am super excited to see if this team are in moment 1 here. The 2008 men's soccer team. I've had a lot of people come up to me and wish me luck on this team because there's a lot of support for this moment in 2008 when they beat Gordon at home twice, and one of those wins was in the tournament playoffs for the conference. They also had the league's top scorer in terms of goals and points, and had a pretty solid goalie who was top 5 in the conference in just about every statistical category. So this, my friends, is where I earned my stripes. The 2008 men's soccer team was the last pick in the 3rd group.
I just wanted to make sure that I was all clear to take the coaching career of Mr. Weckworth.
560 wins. You can't make that up.
Absolutely.
That's an amazing resume.
Welcome to the team, Coach.
Shout out, Coach. So that's Chris. Chris gets pick number 2, I believe, if I'm doing this correctly.
Sure.
I'm going to go with the 1987 men's tennis team, Frank Sierra Mataro.
Hall of Famer, 1996. Great pick. So that leaves me with the 2008 men's soccer team, 16-5-3. That's a great season, guys. I'll take it.
Love it.
I am very impressed with the amount of support in voting that this team has had that led them all the way to the finals. Think about who they beat in that first round.
Mm-hmm.
An amazing resume from Coach Weckworth, who is still here at Curry, and tennis Hall of Famer, Frank Sierra Mataro.
Yeah, I was really confident in my pick there, but it didn't quite pan out for me in group number 3.
So shout out to the, I hope they make it all the way. I still have no idea who won, so I think that would be a huge upset for this best of Curry bracket. The 2008 men's soccer team did pretty well in the 2nd round of the best of Curry bracket, beating Emily Irwin's basketball career by just 9 votes. Emily Irwin's women's basketball career here was very impressive. So the fact that it beat her career was very, very close and very impressive.
And Emily's career was actually drafted by you.
Yeah.
And then traded away.
It
so
was
this
a
was
trade.
almost a clay versus clay matchup.
That's kind of nice. I mean, at the end of the day, it worked out for me overall. And ultimately, here we are with my 2008 men's team in the finale.
Yeah, they were tied going into the last day of voting in round 2, but men's soccer had a really strong day to push them into the finals.
Absolutely.
So now that we know how all 4 of our competitors made it to the finals, what do you say we keep y'all in suspense a little bit longer? It's time to check out what's happening around pro sports.
Here is your weekly update on professional sports.
To kick off what's happening around pro sports, the MLB is almost over. Game 1 of the MLB World Series begins tonight. Will the LA Dodgers and Clayton Kershaw beat the Tampa Bay Rays, or will the Tampa Bay Rays come in with almost an upset, really, against, in my opinion, the favorite LA Dodgers?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it would be too much of an upset because the Rays were number 1 in the American League entering the playoffs. So they were theoretically expected to win the pennant, which they did. But ask anyone in terms of odds, the Dodgers are certainly going to be favored and are already.
Do you think this game will signify who's going to win it all? Because I think if Clayton Kershaw has a bad game 1, which a lot of people are expecting him to have based off his prior experience in playoffs, do you think this game is as monumental as a game 4 or game 5 would be?
I don't. There's a reason you have to win 4 games. And both of these teams are coming off very dramatic 7-game series. And, I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays are quickly becoming my new favorite team.
They're great. They're awesome to watch.
If they manage to win this series, they will have eliminated probably my 3 least favorite teams in the MLB.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm cheering Rays all the way. And I know that for the NBA and the NHL, I really copped out saying my heart was with one team, my head was with another team. I'm going to leave that behind me, and I'm picking the Rays full force to win the World Series.
The one thing I want to say about the MLB, aside from the World Series happening tonight, did anyone see the Alex Cora tweet last night?
I did.
That's
too. Yeah.
very something. That's interesting.
Let's go.
I don't know what it means because I haven't heard any news, but I mean, I saw the tweet.
Well, there can't be any news until after the World Series.
Oh, is that what it is?
Because
Okay.
he's still suspended until
correct.
the World Series
Yep.
is over.
So something's brewing after someone's crowned. I'm super excited to see what happens.
We'll see.
You could call it a successful week in the NFL with no cancellations due to COVID. On the other hand, the Patriots had a disappointing 18-12 loss to the Broncos, or should I say Brandon McManus.
Yep, pretty much.
Brandon McManus had 6 field goals, and we held them, obviously, without a touchdown. So this was the first week that Cam Newton really struggled.
He struggled. The team struggled. Their lack of practice really showed. But one thing that really impressed me was Cam's accountability. He mentioned it before that he felt like he was a Patriot even before he was a Patriot, referencing his work ethic. And this is another piece of that this week, that he doesn't want to point fingers at anyone else. He wants to take accountability, move forward, improve himself. I really believe that improving himself and keeping his head up is going to show the rest of the team what they have to do as well.
Elsewhere around the NFL, Pittsburgh moved to 5-0, and also Tennessee moved to 5-0. But one of those teams will fall from the ranks of unbeaten as they face off against each other in Tennessee next week. And in the NFC, we have one unbeaten left with the Seattle Seahawks at 5-0, who are on their bye this week.
Okay, so thus far in the podcast, while we talk about professional sports, we've only talked about the MLB, the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL. You know, all American professional sports leagues. But something that has caught my eye, especially over the past couple of weeks, is a league that has really taken me back to my childhood. And I'll get into that a bit if I may get real nostalgic and dorky for a moment. So as a kid, I mean, I've always been very into sports and very active. So I would make up games to play and, more importantly, keep stats for in my backyard or in the driveway. And more often than not, they would involve brackets, similar to our Best of Curry bracket. Anyway, one problem I faced is that I needed to throw competitors into those slots in my made-up brackets. And one strategy I really liked to use there was to just throw different countries in. So that is why the newest league I want to chat about here is the UEFA Nations League.
Oh, I love them.
Love that.
We are currently in the midst of the group stage of the second ever Nations League. It is a biennial competition, so once every other year. In 2019, it was actually right on my 23rd birthday. Portugal downed the Netherlands 1-0 to take the first ever Nations League final. That was a team captained by none other than Cristiano Ronaldo. Well wishes go out to
I
him.
know him. I think some people know him. Yeah, good guy.
This year, the format is a little different, but Portugal has been doing very well once again. They're tied with France for the lead in Group 3 in League A with 2 match days remaining. So a lot will be at stake when those two nations meet on November 14th. There are 55 total European nations competing, most of whom are broken down into groups of 4, which are split up into leagues of 4 groups. That's the case at least in leagues A, B, and C. Nations earn their spots based on their ranking, so the best 16 teams play in League A, the next 16 teams are in League B, etc. But yeah, since there are so many teams and so many matches, it's like a statistician's dream. There are some groups that are really close, like Group 4 in League C, where the first place and fourth place teams are separated by just 3 points right now. Some groups have already turned into 2-horse races, like Group 3 in League A is one of those, like we mentioned with Portugal and France. Group 1 in League B is another, where Austria and Norway are leaving Romania and Northern Ireland in the dust, quite frankly. For those unfamiliar with it, like myself, teams earn 3 points for a win and 1 for a draw. And one thing that I find really cool is that through 4 match days, no nation has 4 wins. That's not to say that there are no undefeated teams. There are actually 13 nations who still haven't lost a match, but no team has 4 wins, no draws, and no losses. So all 13 of those undefeated nations have at least 1 draw. But that's really a testament to the quality of competition, that no team can just go out there and dominate everyone they step on the pitch against.
Yeah.
Ultimately, teams are playing for promotions and to avoid relegations, and a couple teams can actually qualify for the 2022 World Cup through the Nations League. But yeah, we've got a lot of matches left to play, so I'm going to be the first to say that I am far from an expert on the Nations League, and honestly soccer in general. But I know I'll be keeping an eye on it, and as more match days come around in November, we'll be sure to keep y'all updated.
Absolutely. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Paul.
Before we finally crown a champion, we are going to jump into a sort of one-time only segment here and give out the Best of Curry Bracket awards. All right, so the first award we have here is the most votes on a single platform in a single day. And with 123 votes, that goes to the 2008 men's soccer team. In round 3 on day 4, they got 123 votes on Instagram alone. That was this final round here.
Yeah.
So that may help them.
That might mean something.
Win it all. We're going to see.
Who knows?
The second award we have here, the most votes across all platforms in a single day, is actually powered by that previous award. It's 129, which also goes to the 2008 men's soccer team. That was, again, the 4th day in the final round here, and it was because of how many votes they received on Instagram.
Do you see a trend here, boys? Do you see a trend?
Maybe. We'll see
for
if I
baseball
have
to
to
come.
worry.
Mm-hmm.
The most votes across all platforms in a single round goes to the 2019 cheerleaders. In round 2, they received 894 votes in that round alone.
That's an insane number. That's amazing.
The largest percentage of a group's votes in a single round going to one team goes to the 2019 volleyball team.
Wow.
Actually, they received 65.4% of the votes in Group 1 in round 1. And that really surprised me because in round 2, they only were going up against one other competitor. In round 1, they had 2 other competitors to worry about, but they still received over 65% of that group's votes.
If you're a team that's going against a 65.4% lead, that's very tough to come back from.
Definitely. So the most overall votes we have here, this is not necessarily the winner. The winner will be determined by who received the most votes in round 3, but the most total votes through all 3 rounds with 1,803. No surprise here. It's the 2019 cheerleaders.
Yeah.
They had the most votes in round 1, the most votes in round 2. We will find out in a little bit whether or not they had the most votes in round 3, but they do have the most total votes through all 31 days combined. Next, I want to jump into the individual platforms. The most overall votes received on Twitter was 547, and that goes to the 2015 baseball team.
Let's go baseball.
And I will say a little sneak peek preview here. I'm not giving anything away really, but every day in the final round, baseball had the most votes on Twitter. So we'll see if that helped them in the championship. The most total votes on Instagram went to the 2019 cheerleaders. They had 1,282. The most votes on Facebook with 220. It's the 2019 volleyball team. Again, it's pretty cool that the most votes on each platform went to 3 different competitors.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. So all of these previous awards have dealt with the individual moments, competitors, teams, whatnot. But now we have a couple that go to the hosts that drafted those moments.
Oh, let's go. This is our awards?
So the host with the most votes with 5,421, it goes to
Thank you very much.
some guy named Paul.
Like, why?
That's not a shock. That's not a shock.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got pretty lucky. I had 4 of my picks move on to round 2, and then I had 2 of those picks go into the finals. So just by sheer volume, this one really wasn't too much of a surprise. So I broke it down a little further to see which host had the highest average number of votes. So this was per competitor per round. So how much we average, like if you were to take a random one of our competitors, what's their average in a single round?
Okay, I see. Yep.
So with 387.2, that one actually also goes to me.
Like, wow. Like, I love it.
Hashtag Team Paul.
So I think these awards were strictly made for you to win.
Yes.
Do you have any honorable mentions here?
Honorable mention? Sure. I will give your averages, your average, Clay, between your 8 picks, 2 of whom moved on to the second round and 1 went into the finals. Your average was 223.5.
Oh my goodness, you destroyed me.
And then Chris's, again, he had 8 total picks in the first round, 2 in the second round, 1 in the finals. His average was 227.4.
So I come in third?
You did come in third.
By like 3?
Yes.
Are you kidding
Let's
me?
go.
By less than 4 total votes
Oh my.
on average.
Oh
All right, so now that I've put a lot of graphics work onto my plate to put something together for all of those, let's get back to what we all came here for. We are going to get right into it now and eliminate the 4th place team.
Oh, right now?
Right now, with 249 votes in the final round, good for 16.8% of the third round votes, the 4th place finisher is the 2015 baseball team.
Woo! Sorry,
which is
Chris.
Chris's
Sorry,
last
Chris.
I'm out.
pick.
Oh,
Chris is
Thanks,
out.
baseball. We had a great run.
that was a great run regardless. What an
Absolutely.
amazing-
To come in 4th out of 24 competitors.
Yeah, regardless. What an amazing
What a
moment there.
run. So now we've got 3 competitors left, but let's make that 2.
Let's do it. Wow, we're getting right into this.
With 280 votes in the final round, good for 18.9% of the third round votes, the 3rd place finisher, and making it onto the podium, I guess, is the 2019 volleyball team,
Wow,
which is one of my picks.
Yeah,
I've
that
just
is.
got one left.
So that leaves the 2019 NCAA cheerleading squad in the 2008 men's soccer. So it's literally between you and me right now.
It is. And before we get into the final 2, I just want to say that this whole bracket went so much better than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
We had so much engagement from the Curry community and beyond, and we were really happy to shine a light during these tough times and give the sense of competition. Even though our teams have not yet made it back onto the field for games and matches, people really pitched in and fought for their favorites. I would like to thank everyone for voting through all 3 rounds, which totaled to 31 days across 3 platforms. We did it. We broke 10,000 votes and finished
10,000.
with 10,129 total votes. So let's dive into how the final round broke down between our 2 remaining competitors.
A lot of people have been looking forward to this. So
The
I'm super excited.
2019 cheerleaders and the 2008 men's soccer team. If you look just at the 10 individual days in the third round, cheer, quote unquote, won 9 out of the 10 days. But the one day they didn't win was because soccer had an absurdly high number of votes. We chatted about that in the awards. Through day 1, day 2, and day 3, cheer had a slight lead. They were actually up by just 12 votes through 3 days of voting. But in day 4, in the final round, soccer received 129 votes, which nearly doubled their total from the previous 3 days combined. That day alone shot them into an 85-vote lead and pretty much made it look like this thing was over, even though there was still almost a full week left. But after soccer received 259 votes over the first 4 days, they only got 135 over the next 4 days, which left the door wide open for the cheerleaders. At the end of that, so through 8 days, soccer was still in the lead. But their 85-vote lead had been cut to just 17.
Wow.
Then,
that's crazy.
On day 9, which was Sunday, cheer beat soccer by 16 votes.
This is seriously close.
Meaning soccer had just a 1-vote lead going into the final day of voting.
So it's anyone's game.
I mean, this really shows the importance of showing up each and every day and doing your best.
On each platform.
I mean, cheer received between 32 and 77 votes a day every single day for all 10 days in round 3.
Yeah.
But there were 3 different days in the finals where soccer didn't even break 30. And if we didn't take day 4 into account, where they got 129 votes out of nowhere, their max in a single day in this round would have been under 60.
Wow.
But we are taking day 4 into account. I mean, it would be quite unfair if we didn't.
Really?
So was it enough to push the 08 men's soccer team over the 2019 cheerleaders for the Best of Curry Championship with 498 votes in the 3rd round and 33.5% of all the final round votes? This team won it by 40 votes. The winner of the Best of Curry bracket is the 2019 cheerleaders.
That's awesome. That's great.
It is the national champions. The men's soccer team wound up in 2nd place. They had 458 votes in that final round, which was good for just over 30% of the final round votes.
Regardless, that's still an amazing showing in the final round, and not just the final round, but the entire bracket. That's pretty impressive. So shout out to the 2019 NCAA, and shout out to you, Paul, for picking that team. That's a very impressive showing for you.
Thank you. Yeah, they went on one heck of a run. And again, to come out of a field of 24 competitors and wind up in 1st or 2nd place, both of those teams were very deserving, and for the drama to unfold to be separated by just 1 vote going into the very last day of voting.
That's literally anyone's game.
It was incredible to watch. I had a lot of fun with it. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit relieved that I don't have to do those polls every morning anymore.
Every day. People loved it, though.
But I really did enjoy doing it. And to see all of the votes coming in, all of the comments, all of the interaction, it was absolutely fantastic. But even though the bracket's over, you can still interact with us.
As we wrapped up the Best of Curry bracket on this episode, we still have plenty of amazing and great content for you guys in the next coming weeks. Be sure to keep yourself updated with the podcast and all of Curry College Athletics by following us on our social media platforms. You can type in Curry College Athletics to find our official Facebook and YouTube page, along with typing in the handle Curry Colonels to find our Twitter and Instagram page. There you can find all of your updates on not only the podcast, but everything Curry Colonels. We are still releasing episodes every Friday, every week. So be sure to check us out and leave us a review and rating and let us know what you want to hear on the pod and things that we haven't talked about yet. So let us know what you want to hear by checking us out wherever you get your podcasts.
That's going to do it for us here on episode 9. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you again for everybody who voted. Again, over 10,000 votes through the 31 days of voting. Congratulations to our Best of Curry bracket champion, the 2019 national champion cheerleading team. We will see you guys later.
See you later. See you next Friday.